Today we will discuss the topic structure of atom. Now all matter around us is made up of atoms, but atoms cannot exist freely. Molecules can. So we can say that matter is made up of molecules which in turn is made up of atoms. Now, if we break down atoms, we will get three subatomic particles: the protons, which are positively charged, the neutrons, which are neutrally charged, that means they have zero electrical charge, and the electrons, which are negatively charged. Now, an atom is somewhat similar to the solar system, with the sun at the center with a huge mass and the planets orbiting the sun. Now, in case of atom also, in the center we have the nucleus, which contains neutrons and protons. Both the neutrons and protons are very heavy compared to the electrons. So, and obviously, the nucleus is positively charged because it contains neutrons and protons. Now, orbiting the nucleus, we have electrons. Okay. Now, you can see that the mass of proton and neutron are almost equal, but the mass of electron is almost 1 by 10,000 times of that of protons or neutrons. So protons and neutrons are 10,000 times heavier than the electron. That's why the nucleus is very heavy compared to the electrons. Now, what happens if an atom loses an electron? Or why does an atom lose an electron? Or maybe the very common question, how does electricity flow? We have, in class 6 also, we have heard that flow of electrons is known as electricity. Now, how are these electrons flowing? How can they flow? Before that, we need to know just the structure of atom, or how the electrons are arranged in an atom, so that we can actually understand how the electrons can flow from one atom to another. So at the center we have the nucleus, right? Very heavy positively charged nucleus. And around the nucleus we have orbitals. Now, these orbitals are also known as shells, electron shells. Now, these shells have names. The first one, which is nearest to the nucleus, is known as K shell. The second one is known as L shell, and it goes on alphabetically. Now, we have a formula for the number of maximum number of atoms which a shell can fit in itself, that is 2n square. This formula gives us the maximum number of atoms that can fit in a shell. Now for K shell, this is the first shell, so n equals to 1. So the maximum number of electrons that can fit over here is 2 1 square, that is 2. For L shell, this is the second shell, so n equals to 2. So over here, the maximum number of electrons that can fit in this L shell is 8. So I said in the beginning of the video that uh, the electrons orbit in orbitals, right? So in K shell, only 2 electrons can fit. And I also mentioned that atoms cannot exist freely in nature. This is the reason. If the orbitals are completely filled, they attain an electronically uh, stable structure. So that atom can exist freely. For example, the structure I have drawn over here is of helium atom. This can exist freely. But if the outer shells, the outermost shells of an atom is not completely filled, they are not stable and they cannot exist freely. The atoms cannot exist freely in nature. They form bonds with other elements and they form compounds. For example, hydrogen. It has only one atom in K shell, so it is wanting another electron. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for your time. We shall continue this in the next video.